Do we have actual amount of time? Good evening, everyone. Welcome to South Texas Amateur Radio Club meeting for January 2024. Woo! It's already 2024 and the month's already completely gone. We are now broadcasting on YouTube Live. First of all, we're just going to run through the neighborhood again and introduce our guests and members. We have up front, we have Sparky N5 GPM, Jim Wilkins sitting up front, N5 VL, Mr. Ken over there. How are you doing this evening? Your call sign is?
K5 ENT.
K5 ENT. And the gentleman?
Lindsay. KG5 USC.
Oh, how are you doing, Lindsay? KG5 USC. And Mr. Hampton, how are you doing this evening? M1
N0WZH.
N0WZH. Wilbur AB5WW. Dale Christ.
KI5YCB.
KI5YCB. Mr. Dale, how are you doing this evening?
Pretty good. AI5 DJ.
AI5
DJ.
Mr. Petty, how are you doing this evening?
I'm doing well.
W5HOP. Mr. Mike, how are you doing this evening?
Just fine. Wayne can hear. AE0PT.
Mr. Wayne, Mr. Wayne.
K5NCW.
K5NCW. Joel sitting back there is
W1JTD.
W1JTD. Tom.
NK5J.
NK5J. Tom, and then we got Tommy.
Kilo 5 Sierra Echo Sierra.
Kilo 5 Sierra. Echo Sierra. And then we have Mr. David.
AF5NF.
AN5.
Alpha Foxtrot 5 November Foxtrot.
Alpha Foxtrot 5. Then we have AD5TC James sitting over there. And then Mr. David sitting way in the back.
N5MXI.
N5MXI. And that looks like that's the roll call of all the members that are currently here sitting with us tonight. And Mr. Ken, is there any other members that have not been formally introduced? I think I've seen everyone and said hello to everyone.
I will add that we have 13 people viewing right now, so you may just want to say hi to them.
We have 13 people that are viewing on Facebook Live.
YouTube Live.
YouTube Live, I'm sorry. We're on YouTube. I'm still trying to figure all this out. So that is actually a good showing of people that are visiting with us. Minutes from the last meeting. I guess that goes to you then, huh?
We didn't have any.
Oh, we didn't have any? Okay.
We had a good time. Minutes, that's the end of the minutes.
Oh, we had a good time and we had, that was a Christmas party, right?
Yes.
Yes, that was a Christmas party. So we did have a good time at the Silverado Steakhouse barbecue restaurant at Golahar and Weber. That was a good time. We got to see some old friends that we haven't seen in a while. Treasure reports, there was no motion for, oh, he has something. So I'm gonna let him come up and take over.
Treasurer report.
Okay. Hello, everybody. Sparky N5 GPM, your club treasurer. So for as of January 20, the club has in its different accounts, Wells Fargo, $2,560.82. And we've taken on some additional members through PayPal, had some expenses, very minor No expenses this month. So the PayPal balance is $2,578.49. Petty cash is down to $142. We made out some expenses at the end of December, and so we will bring that back up to the appropriate $200 petty cash when we have the opportunity to. So total balance in all of our accounts is $5,281.31. So we appreciate everybody that's made their donations up till now. If you haven't made your donations, it is that time of year to make your donations. We appreciate those. We've got a lot of projects coming up that we want to make sure we have some funds available to us. So when we make those changes and upgrades, that we can do those with what we got. So we appreciate you guys. Thank you very much. Going to pass this on to our VE test coordinator, 85TC.
Yeah, good evening to everybody in the meeting and also on the internet. We welcome you to the meeting. I'd like to remind everybody this coming Saturday at our Winter Field Day event, we will have a VE testing session. If you're taking the test for technician, a reminder, you need to go to the Corps website on the internet.
Okay, you're fine.
And get your all your information registered with the government, FCC, so that you can link your information with your FRN number. And of course, you'll be issued an FRN number at that time and bring that to the test session. You need to have that before you arrive. If you're going for an upgrade, we need a copy of your license. So we can send that in along with your test results. Another note on the course, if you are due for re-registration of your license, that comes around every 10 years. Most of us 10 years ago didn't know what CORS was because they hadn't created it yet. That is the government's vehicle to get your information after you pass your test, whether it's initial or upgrade. They will send your information on how to give them your $35 for your new license or your upgrade, and it will come via your email. So the email, a good email address that you check regularly, is essential when you fill out all this information. Once you've got all that done, come to the testing session, and a crew of VEs, many of which are here tonight, will be there ready to help you. That's pretty much what us volunteers do. Is we like to see new people get their license, and we like to see people get their upgrade. And then we look forward to talking to them on the air. And so come on out and visit us this coming Saturday at 10:30 a.m. Right here on the St. Mark's 2727 airline, and join the testing session. At 8 o'clock that morning, we'll be starting to set up for field day, winter field day. We'll also have a tailgate. So if you have a piece of equipment you want to sell, come on out. If you've got a piece of equipment that you're looking for, that you're having trouble finding on the internet or locally or whatever, come on out and visit with us. So that's about all I have from the VEs. I'll turn it back over to our president.
Thank you, James, and a big thank you for all the VEs that we do have that come out on a regular testing basis to turn around and do testing. And you're over there, James. And the VEs that actually volunteer their times to do the testings, the 5 or 6 or 8 or 10 that we have that come out on a regular basis. Is awesome to see them come out and help the new hams get their license, and the ones that are upgrading at the same time. So we do appreciate that. With that, we're going into committees, and I guess that goes to you, Jim. You're starting with.
Okay,
I'll let you have the.
all right. Good evening, everyone. Jim Wilkin in 5BL, your vice president. And Wayne, the repeater situation, would you like to come address that? And while you're here, you and Joel can discuss the Lexington radio room.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Wayne, K5NCW. One of my main projects in the club is trying to keep all the repeaters working. I'm, of course, not the only one that does that. Jim is very helpful in that too, and there's several other people that give us a hand to keep the repeaters going. All the repeaters are on the air, except for the 147.060. That is currently off the air. We're looking for a new site for that, so that may return to the air sometime soon. One of the newer repeaters in its new location is the 146.88. That is located on the KZFM tower near Petronia. It's not getting much use. We'd like to see more use on it so that we can determine what the coverage area is on that repeater and judge how well it's working. So if you get a chance, tune in the 146.88, give out a shout, and maybe you find someone else to have a QSO with. The Lexington repeater's on the air. The 146.82, of course, is on the air, working real good. And the 147.100, which is located downtown on the First Community Bank, that has the National Weather Service broadcast on it when there's an alert for our area. That alert is repeated on that repeater. So that's also a repeater that doesn't get much use, but we'd like to see a little more activity on that one. Back to the 146.88, we're in the process of connecting that to the Fusion internet system. It currently has Fusion on it now, but it's not connected to the internet. So if you want to try Fusion, that would also be a good thing to try out. We found out that the Fusion coverage on that repeater is substantially better than the analog coverage from what we've determined so far. So that would be a good thing to try and see how that works. The UHF repeater at Petronia, 462.250, that again doesn't get much use, but that is going to be put on the All-Star system here very shortly, as soon as we cure some of the audio issues in our connection to the All-Star system. I think that pretty much covers all the repeaters. So I'll turn it back to Jim.
Thank you, Wayne. Appreciate it very much. Joel, would you like to come and fill us in on the latest status with Lexington?
Yeah, Joel, W1JTD. I'll just give you a quick update on some of the projects going on. The Scanty has trouble with the tuner. The box up by the antenna was broken loose. We were able to get that reconnected, but we haven't been able to open it up and see if there's an issue there. We do have a second tuner that we could put up there if we need to. I'm trying to get the amplifier working that we have for the 7300. It was a donation from Chuck Hoffman, one of our silent keys, and there was some issue. I don't know whether it's in the tuning section or in the power supply. I actually have one of those, so I'm going to try to get some pieces down there and swap them out and see if I can determine which which piece of it's having an issue. We have remotely mounted the LDG 600 watt tuner close to the ship's forward antenna in order to improve the tuning on it. And we purchased bias tees in order to power that remotely so that we'll be able to turn the power off and isolate the antenna when we're not using that antenna, which we like to do. The new room, I've continued to get the lights working. I'm tearing the bunks apart that are in there and hopefully get the ship then to move them out. That will clear that room up, have it lighted. We can start looking at getting furniture in there, tables and other connections for radios. We have a second control head for the Scanty that we want to locate in there, and the club has bought wire to run the control cables down there. That's going to be a big job when we finally get to it. It's all just sitting there waiting for us to get time and get it together. I'm trying to keep things in order so we don't get out of order on doing things and stumble over ourselves as far as getting the room cleaned out. The step IR, big IR antenna is still down. We need to remove the lower portion and reassemble the antenna. When we had it up, we had trouble getting it to tune properly. We've tried some grounding legs on it, but it hasn't produced any luck. And then we had a windstorm that took it down. So we'll have to go back and pull it down, reassemble it, put it up. The one advantage is the Lexington's main elevator where you walk into the Lexington is the only operational one. They have been repairing it for several months now. It now runs, so we can get lifts and cranes up there. So maybe we can make those jobs a little easier. When we do the ship's forward antenna with the tuner, we're going to rewire that, and that hangs out on a section that you can't get to without having a lift. So we've got that to do. That's kind of a recap of the current projects. I'm usually there Tuesday mornings now. I've switched from Wednesday mornings when the weather cooperates and people aren't sick. Seems like we've had a lot of sickness going around. Nobody wants to go out there and expose everybody. That's what I've got for now. Jim?
Thank you, Joe. We appreciate everything you do for the club. I know you work at it hard and heavy. Couple of things. We need some chairman for the membership committee. We need to start a membership committee, so we'd like to have someone that will spearhead that, and public information officer. Those are two positions we would like to have filled to help further the club as we go. And there has been some discussion about us teaching a class again. We used to teach a class, pardon me. We used to teach a class both in code and in theory. And now I think that with all of the new stuff coming out, if we would teach a technician class, we might be able to get a lot more people involved in ham radio. And looking at what some of the other clubs around the country are doing, they're teaching it in one weekend. So we can teach it Saturday and Sunday evening do the test. So in one weekend, you learn the theory and get your license. So that would be a cool deal if we can get that going. Sparky, anything on the web that you'd like to touch on? Oh.
So I am, again, Sparky N5GPM. I'm also your webmaster. We haven't made too many changes to the website in a while because we just don't seem to have anything to add. So if there's something you're aware of that any ham fests coming up, any on-the-air events that are coming up, let me know so we can get them on the website, so we can get them posted either in our calendar area, in actual posts that go up as on the website's main page, and also as emails. So that way we can get a little publicity for some of these events. and get some more participation. I mean, we're all licensed. Our goal was to get on the air, so let's get the information out there and help each other out so we can find those things to get on the air to do. Other than that, if anybody has any other suggestions for the website, feel free to drop them by. We're going to be working on collecting more photos so that we can start kind of changing the look, replacing those photos. So maybe at this weekend's event or at the next tailgate after that or regular field day, somebody may be going around snapping your pictures. By all means, let us know if you don't want to be have your picture taken or put on the web. But if you're okay with that, we would like to use those to kind of just show the community, hopefully get more traffic on our website, show the community what we're doing, and try to get some more interest in our hobby. So let us know. We appreciate the help.
One other neat thing we have going on is, of course, this weekend we have the tailgate, so everybody get all your stuff together and bring it out. But we're going to start having a table at the club meetings for you to bring one or two, not a bunch, but just a couple of items that you would like to offload out of your shack into somebody else's shack. And so hopefully that will help us help people get some equipment moving down the road. James?
With that, we got Winter Field Day coming up, so this should be a decent weekend. It looks like it's going to be a gorgeous weekend for field day operations out here at St. Mark's. They're not forecasting any chance of rain as of right now. The weather seems to it's going to cooperate a little bit. It might be a little chilly in the morning, but again, the church is going to open up, so we got the VE test session coming in, but we're going to bring the antenna trailer out. Yes, Mr. James?
You might explain a little bit for our folks on the internet what field day is?
Winter Field Day is just an opportunity for us to turn around and operate and flex ourselves in different situations, break out our equipment and put it to use in an outdoor emergency prep type of situation, or even just a regular generator type of situation. But putting your ham radio HF equipment, your UHF, VHF equipment in a different place than you normally put it, so that it can be used, and gives you an opportunity to have camaraderie among the other hams, and some of the other hams can see some of the newer equipment. I know some people won't be bringing out their home base stations because of the sheer cost and their complex nature that they are, but they do have portable units that they can turn around and bring out to do normal outside activities. So this is an opportunity for us this weekend. We're just going to do a Saturday afternoon and wrap it up, because the church is going to have church service Sunday morning. We have not had a real high participation after it starts getting dark, even in the summertime, for both the summer or the winter field days to operate after about dark. Everyone wants to go home and go to bed type of thing. For some reason, they think sleep's important. So we have an opportunity to turn around and operate a little bit, have a little camaraderie with our fellow hams, operate and test your new antennas that you have, which is one of the things that we're getting ready to get into. Is one of our members has brought in his home brewed antenna that he has built, that he's going to discuss a little bit about here shortly. And with that, it's like the biggest thing that we're looking at is this Winter Field Day coming up. And we had a member come from through this VE session. We had a member that contacted the club that actually did a remote testing got his technician license out of Alaska. If you go back through our webpage, there was like a Facebook tag from someplace in Alaska of the club that was doing VE remote testing, and they sent his name and his contact information locally, but he didn't get his license through remote testing through the VE sessions type of thing, which was rather unique. He's actually a retired teacher here in Corpus area, so. And he did go to one of the Wednesday or Thursday lunch meetings, and I guess he met you, David, James, and went from there a couple of weeks ago. So we look forward to having him when he comes back, and we see him this weekend, hopefully. And with that, I'm going to go from there. The question was brought up earlier. What would be a good repeater to be using if we were living up towards Cal Island, Orange Grove area to get connections out there, Jim?
Well, the KZFM site is up 600 feet, so ideally, that's going to be the widest area coverage. 8.2 moves up that way quite a bit, but I would try the 8.8 or the 442.25, and we do have a little bit of noise on the 8.8, but the club did buy some bandpass filters for that, and everything needs to be retuned, so we're in the process. The repeater situation is kind of fluid right now because we have several things going on and moving forward with that. Elections coming up?
Go ahead.
Okay, we do have, at the next meeting, will be our annual meeting where we vote in new people. And if you would like to run, please let us know. If you want to vote, you have to be a paid member. You also have to be a paid member to run. James Ermis, 85 TC, Dale Chrisman, KI5YCV, Wayne Bortner, K5MCW, and Rachel Wilkin, K5RWW, are on the board now, but they are not up for election, so they will retain their seats through the next year. For president at this point, John Riley, KU5I, is running. I'm still running for vice president, if you'll have me. And Sparky has agreed to stay on as treasurer. We are in need of a secretary. Nobody has stepped forward and volunteered their time for that. So if you would like to do that, please contact us. Easiest thing, send me an email, n5vl@outlook.com, and we'll get you on the ballot that we're going to print up. But you can come in anytime and set up to the last minute and say, I would like to run for one of these positions, and we'll add you. The board positions that are up for election, David Wendell, KJ5DW, is the incumbent, and he's willing to stay. Adam Davis, N5NUR, and Ernest Morgan, KI5VIG, are running for the other two positions. And so if anybody here would like to add their name to any of the positions, please let us know so we can do that, because the voting takes place at the next meeting. Sparky, you had anything?
Well, I was going to say, if you could give a very brief description of what the secretary entails. I think maybe some people just don't understand what that entails.
Okay, we're playing off of my feeble mind here because I didn't write down notes for that. But the secretary really needs to be present at the board meetings and our monthly eyeball meeting to take the notes, to take the minutes. And there are several other things, legal things that happen throughout the year that the secretary should be taking care of. Sparky has stepped up and done that this year because Robert has been really tied up with his teaching and things, and that's why he decided to bow out. So if somebody would like to step into that, it's a little bit of responsibilities, and it is an important position, but it's not all incompetent. It's not going to make you crazy, just slightly crazy.
Your races now?
Oh, we are going to have tonight, David is going to talk to us about his antenna that he's put together. Next meeting, Kent is going to talk to us about Fusion. So we will have the Fusion repeater up and working on the internet by then. He's going to fill us in on how to make that happen, how to make that work, how to use it. After that, in March, we're going to have emergency communications. MCOM is going to be the subject of our program. And we're going to look at Mars, we're going to look at Aries, we're going to look at RACES, anything that people might be interested in joining. I'm the district radio officer for RACES here, and we are going to be starting a 2-meter RACES net once a month because we have so many technicians that are in RACES, and up to this point, they haven't been able to check in because the state net is on HF. So we're going to start this and have a little more training than we've had in the past, and have the ability for the techs to get in and be more involved in the RACES program before we need them in a storm. In a storm where you're assigned to an EOC or something, you would be there with a general or higher, and you'd still be able to use the HF gear. So what we're looking for are people that would volunteer to man an EOC during an actual event. Yes, James.
I know we have some stuff on the website. Could you share the website with folks on the web?
Our website is n5crp.org, n5crp.org, and we do have a lot of information up there, and the more information you guys give us, the more information we'll get up there. Sparky has done a really good job keeping it up to date, and Eric did a real good job with the design, and so we'll hopefully get that refreshed pretty soon and have a new look. But everything should be up and going. So check with the website often. Also, Groups.io is one way that we communicate all amongst ourselves. So sign up for that. And you can sign up for the e-blast. Is everybody in here getting the e-blast? Because we're sending out a lot of direct information from the club to the members and anyone who signs up. We have 200 people on the e-blast now. So those of you who are not here, who are watching, who are on the blast, here, you need to be here when we have our meetings. But I think that's a good way. So be sure you're signed up for the e-blast. You can just send an email to eblast@n5crp.org, and that will get you added to the list. So just do that.
Just check and see if we have any old business. Is there anything that anyone has?
Anyone else have any comments who'd like to make? Anything else we need to look at tonight? Gosh, everybody's so quiet.
They're afraid of the camera.
Yeah, just forget the camera. Come up, you tell your wife and your girlfriend you're on TV. Don't tell them both, but pick one.
Guess it's David's turn to come up. Yeah, we're gonna move him over that way. We're gonna take a short second here and reposition the camera for Mr. David.
You could, Jim, if you want, you can move the speaker. I think we'll be okay.
I think you're okay right there.
If we weren't on the internet, I wouldn't need the mic.
Well, you don't need much on the internet. That's still bigger. So if you'll speak up, we don't need the mic.
My students accuse me of speaking too loud. I never was asked to speak up. Anyway, nearly everybody in this room knows more about antenna theory than I do. So I'm not claiming to be an expert. After 5 total failures, I found something that works. And that's this. And when I started out as a ham, this was in the 50s. We did almost all of our operating at home, except for field day. That was the one time, as I remember, that I ever set up away from home. And now we've got summits on the air, parks on the air, lighthouses that I do. I mean, all these different things where we go out, races and whatever, and operate portable. And so I haven't seen commercial antennas at a price that's worth buying for once or twice, or every third month or whatever. And on the other hand, if you look where we are in the world, we're at the extreme south end of the US. So why would we use an omnidirectional antenna and send half of our power into the South Atlantic and the South Pacific and to people who we can't talk to because of the language barrier and so forth, when almost everybody we talk to in these portable operations, at least, is north of us. So I do these lighthouse on the air things where almost everybody I want to talk to is in the Canadian Maritimes, New England, or the Great Lakes. I'm one of very few people that do this in Texas, and so it was hard for me, for them to hear me and for me to hear them because of the distance. On the other hand, I didn't need to spread my signal over the whole world, so I wanted a directional antenna. First, I tried phasing, because on my boat, what I do is I take my boat to navigation lights and set up, and the station's already there, and talk to these people in the Northeast mostly. But because of the distance, they didn't hear me very well. I didn't hear them. And so I wanted some sort of directional antenna where I could concentrate my reception and transmission to the area I was talking to. But first, since I had a vertical on the boat, I tried phasing another vertical with that to get a lobe in the Northeast. That worked perfectly on top of my parking garage. It never worked on the boat. I can't explain it, and somebody probably can, but same distance, same everything, same spacing, coax, I mean, you name it, and still didn't work. Then I tried a cubicle quad made out of 1/4-inch fiberglass rod. That worked beautifully, except the first time the wind blew, it blew apart with a 10-mile-an-hour breeze, so that wasn't going to work. And then I built the Yagi that's in the handout, the very first thing, the 10-meter Yagi. And that worked very well, but it was a full-size 10-meter Yagi, so this spread was 16 feet. So you can imagine up on the bridge of a boat, in a pitching sea, this whole telescope's up 12 feet, hanging onto this thing 16 feet wide and 8 feet long in a wind and a moving deck, trying to get it into the step or whatever. And then, so that worked. And my very first contact on that was Northern Ireland. And then I got call after call from Europe because they were kind of curious about, a beam on a boat. So it worked very well, but it was completely impractical because of the size of it. So I mentioned that to our colleague, Mr. Ermis, and he said, well, you can shorten a dipole by putting a coil on the element. And then I found on the very last page of the handout, there's a 20-meter dipole 2-element Yagi that does just that. And even I can do the math to make that 10 meters. And so that's how we got to this. And since I made this, and by the way, the first contact on this antenna was Italy, second one was Sardinia, and then it was Europe all day long again. And I was skipping right over all my lighthouse friends on 10 meters, so I was talking to Europe. And if you don't believe me, the first guy, I don't know where did I put it? Here it is. First guy I talked to in Italy wanted a QSL from a boat, so I got his first. So it works. And the idea was I had to take this, obviously it can't be up there permanently, it's too flimsy, though it will stand a pretty good breeze. So in order to make the elements short enough to transport in my Buick, I simply made them telescope. And I made them telescope by using 1-inch water pipe for the first part, 3/4 inch on the second. And then for a little friction, I wrapped this double stick tape around, around the little one inside and left the paper on the outside. And that made just enough friction so it stays in place, but it can be, you can't slide it in and out. Since I made this, I made 15 and 17 year versions. They look exactly the same except for more turns on this coil. All the dimensions are the same. I didn't want to bother with a gamma match or anything like that, so I used a direct feed. The distance between the elements determines the impedance. As they get closer together, the impedance goes down. By my calculations, this needed an 8-foot distance. That being essentially a quarter wave, which is 90 degrees out of phase, and that was also supposed to give me 50 ohms. Actually, when I did that, the impedance was a little low, so I just added these extensions, and now I've got a 50 ohm drive. It's not exactly a 90 degree out of phase, perfect directivity, but it seems to work well, so I'm not touching anything. Anything else. I've been given 10 minutes, so I don't know where I am. Well, after I built this one, oh, by the way, this pipe is not Schedule 40. And the first one I did with that, it was so heavy, this thing proved like a perfect parabola. So the pipe is the cheaper, thinner drain pipe, the 200 PSA drain pipe, and it's light enough that it works. It might be that this is 1 1/4 inch. I might use 1 1/2 just to have a little less of the droop, but actually it doesn't affect performance. It seems to be fine. As far as how it goes together, pull out this pin. I put this together. There are only 3 pins. You pull out this pin, slide that out. This pin here, and that pin, it comes together, and then you've got a bundle you can hold in one hand of three sticks. This is a painter's extension pole used to paint the ceilings. It's 12 feet high, fully extended. You can buy these up to 20 feet high. Everything on this antenna except the SO239 you can buy at Home Depot. And of course, for this demonstration and for Winter Field Day, I selected Christmas tree stand. So results, theoretically, 2-element Yagi should give you should be the equivalent of tripling your transmitter power in the direction where it's pointed. But to me, I have more trouble hearing than transmitting, and that's where it seems to really shine. When you're looking at Northeast, with this, the front to back ratio is really good. If you look at the first email, the email that I put on the first page of your handout, that was with the 15-meter version. I talked to a QRP station in Ontario, and I got a 5.9 report, which is not surprising. And then all of a sudden he faded out, and a station in Antigua called me and said, "What kind of a boat are you on?" Now that's kind of weird because I'm aimed northeast toward these lighthouses, and I went up on the bridge of my boat to see what this thing was doing, and the wind had shifted it around southeast. So when I turned it back around northeast to the QRP station, I picked him up again, and he wrote me an email and described that process, which I put on the handout on the first page. Anyway, that's what I did. And if anyone wants to build one of these, if you have any questions, AF5NF, I'm good on QRZ, and I'd be glad to host a little workshop if you want, whatever.
Yeah, give them an idea of how many dollars you put in parts.
Oh, these things are about $4 each. You need one 1-inch one and 1 3/4 inch one. Peters extension poles left over from a project that I think they're about $20. I don't know. The wire is taken from, when I bought my boat, they had a sound system in it with all this two conductor speaker wire. And I like that because you measure it once and then split it. You got two exact like things. But that's where that came from. So I probably have about $30 in this, and it would be 50 or so if you have the mass.
So what gauge is your wire?
Well, I think it would be about 16 or 18. Oh, that's another thing. If you, the reason this coil is out of ways, the closer you put it to the base, the higher the current in this section. And I run 500 watts on the boat, and I wanted it to handle some power, so that's why I set it in the middle. And apparently that shifts the high current part of it out. It distributes it along the antenna better. Again, it's people that know a lot more about this than I do, but I can tell you this handles 500 power without even getting more. Okay, anything else? I think I've blown the time and given anyway, so.
Thank you.
Thank you, David. It's amazing what we can do as inventors and turning around and getting ingenious with our activities that we want to turn around and ensure that we can find ways to solve problems that we have. So with that, David has done that with his own antenna that he self-brewed with a little bit of a very minimal cost, which is actually real good. You know, he's not out spending the high dollars for the big Mosley antennas or, you know, the big antenna systems where he can turn around and, like he said, pick it up and put it in his hands and carry it away. You know, that's this is actually probably a good MCOM type of antenna that you could put to use if we needed to point it towards Austin or San Antonio. Only other thing we would have to have is some sort of a compass, unless I'm not compassly inclined, so I need a compass to look at to tell which way is north, and then from that I can turn around and tell directions. But without a compass, I'm clueless.
That's all that problem. I got one in my car. So I went northeast, I point my car northeast and hang line with antenna. First on the road, I've got a number of compasses.
That's it. But those are the things that we're looking for. Is the ingenuity of the ham communities, the tinkerers, the makers that are out there to come forward and help spread some of the goodwill and the knowledge that they have. Because I know that we have big maker groups here in town, i.e. the 3D printing type of groups here in town. I know that the Navy base has some sophisticated metallurgy type of 3D printing stuff, which is pretty complex and interesting, which would be nice to see. So with that, is there anything else on the agenda, Jim?
Not that I see. The next meeting will be February 22nd.
February 22nd, so we will have is our next eyeball meeting Tuesday nights on our regular repeaters. There is some discussions that we're trying to look at possibly sliding the meetings around to some of the other repeaters just to test them to see whether or not how the coverage actually goes out type of thing. I know that we have a issue going down south, I thought, but I'm hearing We have a couple of members down south that are hitting the repeaters on a regular basis with their mobiles and things like that, their mobile stations. I know the handhelds will have a little bit of difficulty trying to get that far up if they don't have a better antenna system or a little bit of a power boost, if they're not using a mobile type of systems, type of thing. So with that, is there anything else that the club members actually have or would like to say? Mr. Tom?
Yeah, somebody had put on Facebook, I think it was Facebook, might have been the other platform, that they were looking for a plug code for a Anytone 878. I brought one with me if you have it on phone drive, so if somebody here asked for that one.
A DMR, the DMR plug code for Anytone 878, a UV 878 plug code for that radio. So one of the members actually has it here in-house. So I don't think we have any DMR or any, we have DMR users here, but none that are looking to needing a code plug right at the moment. So
Well, I have it, I'll have it on Saturday with me too. if they need it.
so we will have some DMR. Yes,
The gentleman that had asked for that just commented in the room. He said he will be here Saturday.
Oh, okay.
And so he's the one that had asked, but he just could not make it tonight.
I'll bring it out and have a programming code program for it, the executable for that on Windows.
Okay, so the desktop program,
And a link to BridgeCom to the instructions on how to do some of the stuff with DMR.
okay,
So
so,
it looks like we will have a DMR lecture session, which is one of the other things that turned out to be the bigger benefits of our winter field days and our field days is that we turn around and get into training classes, and it usually becomes a 3-5-man or 5-person group, someone that's interested in one particular subject. So it looks like DMR has now become the topic of
Let's find somebody who knows something about it.
Tom, it's you know more than anyone else, so it's like
I doubt it.
we actually do have a couple of members that actually do have extensive background in DMR and other radio systems, and so. But with that, we can muddle our way through it and get into some trouble with it. So Tom will be here with that code plug, his laptop, and we'll get that radio retuned up and put the new code plug in. Did I see anything else? Sparky?
no, as you end this, don't forget to thank the people watching from home for coming to the meeting tonight.
Yes, thank you for coming. If you're on the YouTube live, this is something new that we are starting, and then 2024, I think, has become the new stepping stone. So we are stepping out and embracing technology even more with inviting more spread of the use of the amateur radio systems, and to get more people into the organization or into the hobby. I thank again to David for coming and bringing his antenna and showing that to us. And I'm glad that he enjoys doing that on this boat, so he can do his lighthouse connections and his marker. You actually have a couple that people are looking for in Corpus. Is that what you said at one time?
Well, all of the lighthouse guys are in New England, the Great Lakes, or the Canadian Maritimes. And so if you could imagine there are parks on the air, and you're about the only one in Texas, and there are hundreds of chasers all up and down another part of the country, how popular you'd be.
Okay, so the lighthouse and light markers and stuff like that is like a POTA program, and so you get to use the loves that you like: ham radio, your boating, and your other items like that. So again, those are just getting out and getting radioactive is what we're looking at, is get out and get radioactive, use your equipment, fellowship with your other ham radio guys and gals that are out there. See if you can learn something new. Someone will have something different that you can spread around and learn from. So with that, I guess we'll close the meeting unless there was any other comments from the YouTube bunch. We appreciate y'all joining in tonight. We had like 13 or 14.
It fluctuated 13 to 16 and then.
And we appreciate the 20 or so that are here. I didn't take account, but that makes the club pretty substantial.
Introduce Rachel and Bobby.
Rachel.
They came.
Oh, we have Miss Rachel back there, which is going to be one of our newest, youngest hams. And then Bobby, is Bobby Joe?
Yes, sir, Bobby Joe, it doesn't really matter, to me. Still call me this way.
Oh. Did you say you were a ham or working?
I am still, yeah, I have my junior license.
Okay, your call sign?
Kilo Oscar 4, Mike Fox Delta.
Mike Fox Delta.
And my wife is KO 4 MFP. We tested at the exact same time, and so we happened to get an error. So I don't have a letter change from that.
Well, you having fun tonight, Miss Rachel? And then we also had Augie that snuck in N1 YNZ. He snuck in on the back door. He thought he wasn't going to have to introduce himself. So,
How old are you, Rachel, in your what class license?
9.
Awesome.
She got her license about a year and a half ago. I think she was 7 when she got her license.
wow.
Nice.
Hopefully, if you come out this weekend, one of Ernest Morgan's son, Josiah. Josiah.
He said the other Tuesday night that he was going to try to make it to the field.
He actually got to do a little bit of the Yoda on the air contacts through the Youth on the Air program. So we're glad to have you here, and thank you for coming. Thanks for bringing your dad with you to come. So with that, guys, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to turn around and close it down for the evening. Wish y'all were here on YouTube to come and visit. We're going to spend about 5-10 minutes, or maybe even 15 or 20 talking about more amateur radio stuff. So good night, all, and we will see you next month. Have a good evening. And this has been a new adventure for us.
Yes. Thank you very much.
And thank you for being patient with us because we're turning around and having to focus ourselves to cameras.
I want to shake your hand too.